Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, happy Monday, everybody, and welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show. After a very interesting weekend for the Rays against the Marlins. Hope you didn't waste a lot of your weekend watching that, because I sure as hell did not. I had to watch the highlights and do my research, but my Lord, no thank you. We'll be getting into some Bucs as well, as Simeon Rice is going into the Ring of Honor today. Well, we're having a press conference today. Anyway, man, as Bucs, Rays, and Bolts put in here, I cannot wait for football season because, man, it just feels so slow when the Lightning go out early. Oh, it's a long summer and it hasn't even started yet. We got that. We got baseball. We got Caitlin Clark to talk about. We got all kinds of stuff here. Good morning to you, Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. How are you, partner?
Good morning. I actually had a different take on that this morning. I thought, I was really going to come in here and say, nothing replaces the fall and nothing replaces that feeling of football being back and, NHL starting and baseball playoffs and all that stuff that goes on in the fall. It's great.
Yeah.
But I felt like weekends like this past weekend, I felt like Sundays like what we saw yesterday across all sports.
Yeah.
It's like we need those.
But the game sevens were complete freaking duds. Both game sevens were complete blowouts.
Both game sevens let us down, but I love, my PGA champ, which that ended up being a blowout too, unfortunately.
That was a blowout too. Zero drama.
Maybe you're onto something. You're onto something. I don't know. Maybe in my head, it sounded like it was going to be so great.
It was going to be like Sunday was going to be, just settle in. It's 9,000 degrees outside. Don't do, just right. This is going to be a great sports day. We got game 7 in basketball. The Leafs have a pulse now after winning game 6. Lie. And, this the PGA championship. And then after the front 9, I thought to begin the day, Scotty Scheffler's just going to run away with it. And then he was actually mortal on the front 9. I'm like, what the F is going on here? And then it was like, oh, yeah, you put a bet on Scotty Scheffler. You cursed this guy. That's just going to be the biggest. He's going to shoot 80 today because you bet on him. Something historic is going to happen because, as we know, when I bet on something and I lose, something historic always happens for me to lose. So I'm like, we're on our way. Here we go. And then he self-corrected with the easiest self-correct ever and goes on to win by 5 shots in another dominant performance. So, yeah, that was blowout number 1. Well, I guess the Nuggets capitulating was blowout number 1 at OKC. And then that one. And then what a disappointment the Leafs were. Man, can you imagine those poor Leaf fans? I want to feel for them, right? But then I remember how absolutely obnoxious they are. And then I'm like, yeah, whatever. So sorry for your luck. Happened to us too. But I will say this. Did I not say, as the Lightning exited, I said, you wait to see what the Panthers do to Toronto's top line, as everybody was bitching and moaning about Cooch. And I get it. He needs to show up better in the playoffs. There's no question about that. But this Florida team, it's a wagon, bro.
Wagon.
Go.
No flaw. No flaw.
I hate to say it, but damn, they're good. That second period they put on the Leafs last night, oppressive. I was like, oh, that looks familiar. I think I've seen that before. You just can't get it out of your zone. It looks like they're playing with 7 men. It's just like I'm like coming out of the screen because you can't see the whole ice. But it's like you're focused on Toronto's defensive zone, Florida's offensive zone. And it's just constant. Every time that you think you got the puck, here comes 7 more Panthers. It looks like there's 12 of them in the offensive zone because every time a Maple Leaf touches the puck, they're suffocated, just suffocated. And I'm like, how did the Panthers do this? Like, why are they so good? They just anticipate the plays. They know exactly where you're going with the puck, and they arrive there before you do. It's really impressive. It's impressive and oppressive, but it's tough to play against. I hate to give them their flowers, but
no. They have to deserve their flowers because as much as I wanted Toronto to win the series, I said that. I'm like, if you're making me pick one, the Knicks are doing something special right now in the NBA where they're finally playing relevant games. And I was like, I don't hate the idea of having Toronto play meaningful games too. Like, let's just get it all out of the way. Let's have the Knicks break their curse. Let's have the Leafs break their curse. Like, I just want wacky. I want story. Yeah. And I felt like that was a better storyline. Yeah. But, I mean, first of all, the Leafs gave up a much better fight than the Lightning did. Let's put that out there. I know it sucks to, lose 12-2 on your home ice in the last 2 games, but, the Lightning can't win games at home either. But, no, Florida, my takeaway was, after watching what they just did to Matthews and Marner, and I know Matthews and Marner have a reputation, by the way, for not showing up in the postseason. But Barkov and Reinhart, man, is there a better all-around duo in the league right now? I don't think there is, because forget their offense. And Reinhart's a 50-goal scorer in the NHL. Barkov, he's a great playmaker. Man, as a two-way tandem, holy hell.
Good. They're really good.
Everybody, and they have size to them. They're not the fastest guys in the world on the ice, but they read you very well.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to score for you to win. Last night, did this guy play? I don't even know if this guy played all series. Jonah Gadchovic? Who?
Yeah.
Scoring goals in a game 7 for them.
Well, look at their third line. Marchand had a goal and 2 assists, and what he's done to the Leafs in game 7 is just
what an acquisition. What an acquisition. Seth Jones scores the big goal last night. He was really good in this series. Marchand was the best player. Trade deadline, man.
Yeah, we got Bjorkstrand and Yanni Gord. And Yanni Gord, the thing, I was very iffy on that. Everybody was going crazy because of the nostalgia factor. I'm like, is that really what we needed? Is that really 175 pound? No disrespect, but it's just a 33-year-old small forward.
They started him playing with Kucherov and Point in game 1.
Yeah. And Bjorkstrand, I thought he was a great acquisition. I thought really did. And, just tragically, he got that injury, out of nowhere, that thigh injury, damn near killed him. Emergency surgery at 2:00 in the morning. But I mean, that's just, that's the difference. Marchand and Seth Jones have just been absolutely perfect additions. And that third line beat the crap out of us and beat the crap out of Toronto.
And they got away with Matthew Tkachuk not doing anything for 7 games. He's clearly hurt, okay? I mean, I know everybody's banged up, but he's really hurt, and you can tell. Yeah. Even his antics, he's not even the same, what he did in the Tampa series.
Yeah.
He didn't do any of that in the Leafs series. I think he's really hurt. But it doesn't matter because Eetu Luostarinen, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologies if I'm not.
Yeah.
He's leading all skaters in the postseason in road points. Eetu Luostarinen, for crying out loud. They just hit you with every way.
They're so deep. They're so physical, and they continued the cheap shots in this series as well. I mean, Stolarz is taken out of the series. Is he the difference in 7 games? Maybe.
I don't know. When your top guys got to be your top guys, and outside of Willie Nylander, nobody in that those top lines had a pulse.
Yeah, and if you're Toronto, God, 7 consecutive game 7 losses. By the way, what is Paul Maurice now 6-0? 6-0 in game 7s.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, Marchand's 5th game 7 win over the Leafs. Oh. In the second period, the Panthers had a 70-33 shot attempts advantage. I'm sorry, 39-14 in the second period, just in the second period alone. 70-33 for the game in shot attempts. Jesus Christ. The Leafs have not advanced past the second round since 2002. In fact, their only series win was against us when they won 3 overtime games 2 years ago.
Yeah, let me give you a good stat here. Toronto, since the 2004-2005 NHL lockout, which I go back to that because that was the last time Toronto had made the postseason until they had this run, right?
Right.
And then won a playoff series when they beat the Lightning in 23. They have won 2 playoff series in that time with Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, John Tavares, William Nylander, Morgan Riley. The list goes on and on and on, right?
Right.
The Buffalo Sabres, who have not made the postseason in 14 years, which is the longest streak in professional sports right now, I believe. They have won 4 playoff series in that time. How is that possible?
Well,
Even
and for those Leaf fans that spend so much money.
Oh, and the Leafs are like they drag you back in, right? Like game 5 happens. All the Leafs fans were like, "Oh, this series is over. We're cooked. We got to move on for everybody." And it was like, "Well, you still got to play 2 more games potentially."
Right.
And they go out in game 6 and they give you just a slimmer of hope. They make all the fans drag themselves back into Scotiabank. They make all the fans drag themselves into the streets of Toronto, only for them to do the same exact thing they did in game 5. They would have had a much better shot if that game was on the road. If the Maple Leafs are playing a meaningful game in their home barn, they are so tight. You just know it's in their head. Craig Berube said last night, it's between the ears. It's all mental.
Look how they played in game 6 compared to how they played in game 7. I mean, it's 2 totally different teams. They're just gripping the stick, and then Florida gets on top of you, and then it's just you can't tilt the ice back the other way. Yeah. And even after Domi scores to make it 3-1 early in the third, you're like, oh, this could be interesting.
47
seconds later. 47 seconds later is 4-1. And at that point, you're just,
Yeah, and yesterday was the first time they like truly lost their composure because Craig Berube, who's one of the more mild-mannered coaches in the NHL, he was losing it on the bench after they were down 3-0, which you never see Craig Berube get that animated. Yeah. And this is a Stanley Cup winning coach. He knows the level that they have to get to. Right. And I think in that moment he realized, wow, I can't will these guys. I can't get these guys ready to play. And I don't know if it's me. I think it's just them. And then Mitch Marner, who it's funny coming from him, is yelling at his teammates to wake the F up. It is game 7. This is the biggest game the Toronto Maple Leafs have played this century. Okay? And they know this is basically it for this core. And he's having to yell at his team, wake the F up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
systematically it was broken franchise.
It's weird. And for them to have such a great regular season and the Lightning as well. Both of these teams have such great regular seasons. And then at points just, it was a 7-game series. So I'm not going to say they weren't competitive, but they were up 2-0 in this series and they went to overtime in game 3, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Game 3, this could have been 3-0 Toronto.
Yeah. And they had some excellent chances. Of course, Austin Matthews missing an open net again. To go up 3-0, and then they have to win the series at that point, but maybe not. I don't know. But this one has to be excruciating for them. But I also, and we look at everything in terms of the Lightning. I think, all the Lightning fans that were so down on Kucherov and so down on this team for losing again in the first round. I mean, you have to, again, it has to be context. It has to be context. And this Florida team it's their time. It's their time. They've been able to keep it together. Now, after this year, they'll have some more salary cap issues, but their core is really, really good. And the Lightning they got to figure out a way to be able to go toe to toe with them. And it just comes down to physicality. It comes down to size. It just, after a while, it just takes a beat, especially in the playoffs when they let you do whatever the hell they want to let them do. And in this particular series, the Hagel thing, we don't have to, adjudicate this again, but it is what it is. I mean, they're dirty, they're physical, they're nasty, and we gotta fight fire with fire. I mean, to me, that's basically what it is. And Julien Brisebois knows this. They all know this, and they're gonna have to go out and do it. That's why the deadline was just a little bit, like, okay, Bjorkstrand, he's not. I wouldn't call him a physical player. No, but he's a little bit more stout and a little bit more, I thought that was, but Yanni Gourde was like, I don't think we're bringing it back. I don't know. We'll see, but it's just not what we need right now. I think there's got to be a little bit of size and nasty added to this team. All right, let's get to the Rays and this past weekend. And I was watching some of the highlights, and first of all, Shane Baz, I mean, this guy starts the season like gangbusters. I mean, he could have been the best pitcher. And we even said it on here. We're like, dude, this guy could win a Cy Young this year. And then the last 5 starts have been an absolute disaster. The Rays now have the 19th. They're ranked 19th in starters ERA at 4.33. 19th. And they started the first, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of the season was historic. I mean, it was unbelievable. So it's been really bad in the last few weeks. And you look at some of the guys and bad, you watch his stuff yesterday, and at times you're just like, wow, this guy can be unhittable. But then he leaves balls over the middle of the plate. And damned if he didn't throw the damn slider again for a 3-run home.
Gosh.
Why did you keep throwing this pitch?
I can't figure this out.
5 or 7% of his repertoire.
Yeah, he's thrown the pitch 8% of the time this year.
Yeah.
He's given up 5 of his 8 home runs on that slider.
It's like he throws the slider, and before Otto hits it out of the ballpark, Lopez, he's already shaking his head. Like he throws the pitch, and it's a cement mixer into the barrel of the bat, misses his spot, and it's just 86 miles an hour. I'm like, and he's literally shaking his head before he hits it out of the ballpark. Why do they call that pitch? Like, what are you doing? You can't throw the slider. It's awful. Don't throw the slider again. Like the Rays of all people with their analytics. How in God's name, when the guy's got 3 better pitches, why would you ever call that again? He can't throw the slider. It's in his head. Stop freaking calling for the slider.
Yeah. Shane Baz right now, and Taj Bradley's dealing with this too, by the way. It's not just Shane Baz, but I single out Taj as well. It's like these two guys have really good stuff. But I'm starting to wonder, it's like, are they ever going to become consistent enough pitchers to be what the Rays need them to be at this point? Because it's not like it's their first go around in Major League Baseball. Like these guys have had enough time to prove that they are top end starters. And right now they're just anything but. And Shane Baz, it's like he gets off to this great start to the season where he strikes out, I think, 27 batters in his first 3 outings. The curveball is just dancing. It's filthy. And he's getting all this hype on MLB Network, and DeRosa's doing a breakdown on him, all this stuff. And in the last 6 games, he has gone out there and given up 26 earned runs, 38 hits, 15 walks, only struck out 21 guys, 7 home runs, a 7.8 ERA. And now we sit here in Shane Baz's numbers. He's at a 5.3 ERA. He's a minus 0.5 WAR for the season. It's like the Rays, it's like we already know the issues with the offense, okay? And those issues continue to plague them in this series too. But the pitching's going to have to help them. The bullpen's been really leaky of late, which we thought this was going to be this all-world bullpen. It's not. And now all of a sudden the starting pitching, you just mentioned it, ranks 19th in baseball. They've given up 44 home runs as a starting staff. Only the Orioles and the Blue Jays have given up more. The starters have given up more home runs than the Rays offense has hit home runs. It's not exactly a winning recipe.
One of the things that I see, especially with Boz, is, he's making mistakes over the middle of the plate, and they're not missing them. And then you go through some of that. Sometimes you go through a stretch where you just, and the Rays are really, really big on strike one. They are huge. They always want you pitching from ahead, and it's worked for them. Let's just be honest with it. Our team's catching up a little bit. Our team's just saying, look, you're going to live in the strike zone. We're going to start hacking. We're going to start hacking, and we're going to hack early in the count because we know you're trying to get strike one. And it's been a big part of their success. But, baseball is a game of adjustments. And I look at both of these guys, and I see their stuff, and I say, maybe you shouldn't live in the strike zone as much as you do. You have to adjust. I mean, they're because everybody else adjusts to you. And both of these guys would have ridiculous stuff. But if you go back and watch just the highlights from yesterday, everything that Shane Baz gave up was 99 or the cement mixer slider. 99, but it's right over the middle of the plate, like the dead middle of the plate. It's not even, it's right over the middle of the plate, and it doesn't move. His 4-seamer has no run to it. It's just straight as a string. And it even at 99, location is everything. You've got to move it in and out, up and down. He knows this.
Yeah. But
they're just getting to me, both of these guys are just getting too aggressive in the zone. And I know you want to stay ahead of hitters and the analytics say that, but at some point you got to start deviating a little bit. And to me, both of these guys are they're making mistakes over the middle of the plate, and they're getting crushed.
And I don't know how you handle this, because it's not like in an ideal world you don't want to have to send Shane Baz to the minors. That would be
hell no.
You don't want to do that.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. They got to work this. They both have great stuff. And they're young. They're both still young.
Yeah.
I think they'll work this out. But I
hope they do. But I think it's worth pointing out again. It's like before, like 3 weeks ago, we were talking about, Joe Boyle's lighting it up in AAA, and we obviously saw what he did in his first major league start. But it's like, well, who are you going to send down to bring him up? I don't know how you handle it, but Joe Boyle is absolutely killing it right now in Durham. And it's like, I don't know how you don't bring him up at some point. I don't know if you got to do a 6-man rotation and stretch these guys out, spread it out a little more. I don't know what you do. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody needs a phantom injury and to reset, I think, because I think I need to see Joe Boyle up right now.
We need to see Joe Boyle in a hurry, because this team is just languishing in mediocrity. What are they, 5 games under 500 now?
Yeah, they're 4 games under 500, but it's just for the second consecutive year, they're just a hard watch. They are just a hard watch. It's such a frustrating team to watch. I mean, we're talking about the starting pitching today, which is like the last thing we thought we would be talking about 40 some odd games.
Well, that's just because we haven't gotten to the shitty offense yet.
Yeah, and I'll transition to the offense now because once again yesterday, big moment of the game, bases loaded, nobody out, and they can't find a way to get a run home. It's like they've done this multiple times this year. Junior Caminero, there's more problems with the offense than him, and I hate to put all the pressure on a 21-year-old, but the stats are the stats. I mean, Junior Caminero is graded out as a negative WAR player so far this year, which is hard to think about. And a lot of that comes down to the fact that he's just not a sure-handed glove at third base right now. But he has grounded into a MLB high 12 double plays.
Yeah,
Junior
I think that's
Caminero.
what's killing his WAR, to be honest with you. I don't think he's been that bad with the glove this year.
No, I think it is dinging him, though, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's just not, again, I don't want to put all the pressure on a 21-year-old, and there's other guys who aren't carrying their weight either.
You're not doing that. The Rays are doing that. The Rays, you count on 21-year-olds to carry your offense. This is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get inconsistencies. You're going to get stretches of really bad play, which are going to compound themselves because he knows he's one of the only bats in the lineup that can make a difference.
Yeah,
this is one of the reason number 1,000 why you need to spend more money. You need more depth in your lineup, and you need some experienced players and experienced hitters in your lineup.
Yeah.
That aren't all single hitters.
To boil it down, there's the stat out there, OPS plus, and if you are 100 OPS plus, that's league average. The Rays have 2 players in their lineup that are over 100 right now. Yeah. And that's Jonathan Aranda, who's at 159. He's tearing the cover off the baseball. Mm-hmm. And then Jose Caballero is at 107. Everybody else is below 100. So you have 7 of your 9 hitters, essentially, every 9 you put out the lineup, are below average this year. Like there's too many free outs to go around.
The top 3 hitters, and it's not just below average; it's down way low.
Yes, it's really like Taylor Walls is 57, Danny Jansen 72, Brandon Lau's 82, Morel's 84, Yandy even is 96. Like, I mean, even for some of these guys, like this is not what they've ever been. They're like hitting historically below levels to what they've usually been. That's how bad it's been for the Rays this year. So.
And Josh Lowe gave him a little boost. He has, and it'll be nice to see him settle in, hopefully, and not get injured again. Let's hope. It certainly he's hitting well since he came back. Let's hope that continues. That could be a huge push for them. And Ha-Seong Kim, when's he coming? We know.
That's hurting.
Late April, maybe May.
It's looking like it's going to be sometime in June. I don't even know. Like that's unfortunate. They gave Ha-Seong Kim the biggest free agent contract they've ever given a hitter, and I don't think they ever imagined they'd be this far into the season and he wouldn't be playing right now.
Again, career 243 hitter. It's not like he's going to save this offense. He's not. He's not a slugger. He's an average offensive bat. Is he not?
He
a little above average.
His career OPS plus is 99. So yeah, there you go. The average.
There you go. But everybody's like, "Oh, wait till Ha-Seong Kim gets here. Our offense." I'm like, this ain't A-Rod, people.
No, it's not.
Early aughts A-Rod. Nope, sorry, it's not. So yeah, again, add nothing of any significance in the offseason in terms of offense. When you're yelling and screaming about Danny Jansen and Ha-Seong Kim remaking your offense, we knew this in the offseason. We're like, okay, nice, but where's the sluggers?
Yeah, the idea was that these guys would raise the floor of what your shortstop and catching position had been.
But it was so bad.
Yeah, like the floor was, I mean, it was a low bar that you had to get to. And I don't think Danny Jansen had a hell of an on-base streak that was going. Like, he's been a little bit better of late, and he's good behind the plate, but he's still hitting 179 with 2 home runs and 8 RBIs. Like, there's nothing groundbreaking here happening with Danny Jansen. Ben Rortvedt is hanging out with the Alex Jackson's level right now at the plate, and he's not good behind the plate behind the plate either. Like, they just don't have any answers.
He's terrible defensively. He's batting .096. 2 months into the season, it's .096. And this dude is still in the major leagues. Like, this is the most. And then yesterday, he doesn't even know how to tag up on a fly ball at third base. This is the most basic little league effing thing in the world. And you can't tag up on a fly ball. Okay, line drive. The ball gets above head high. You're staying on the base. Okay, for little league T-ball. Okay, nobody out. You're at third. The ball is lifted into the air. If it's not a ground ball, you put your foot on the freaking base. Is this not what we were told? Now he can't even tag up. They end up bases loaded, nobody out. Of course, Caminero hits into his 12th double play of the year, and you got no runs. I mean, you can't make these mistakes. You can't do it. And when you're batting .096, how this guy is not shipped out of here today. Like, I'm sorry. You are not a major league player. You're not. Like, there's nobody in the system that's better than this guy. There's nobody on that we can go get. I mean, it's just like, oh, he's cheap. We'll throw him in there to spell Jansen every other day. We're good. Like, that's just a give up. That's just a freaking give up. Like, it's a gifted, like, what are we doing? Like, somebody explain to me why this guy is still on this freaking roster. .096.
5 hits and 58 at-bats.
Oh, like, you don't. Like, what are you doing? Oh, then he must be freaking Johnny Bench behind the plate. No. Like, what are we doing? To me, this is a perfect example of, we just mediocre. We don't care.
They don't
care. We really don't care.
It's not even like they could okay, well, who's hitting in Durham at the catching position? I looked actually this morning because I was curious. They have some guy named Tres Barrera who's got 6 home runs in 23 games, hitting .229, but he's 30 years old. He's 30 years old.
Crash Davis, bring him up.
There's another dude named Kenny. There's another dude named Kenny Piper, who has 5 home runs and 78 bats, hitting .244. He's 26. He's a little. We got
11 home runs for the catching position at Durham, and this Jamoke is still in the major leagues.
Yeah, but I don't know what those guys would do at the major league level, but they just don't have answers at that position. It's
how about you make a trade? How about we make a trade for a backup catcher and just not accept this ridiculous mediocrity? You know? And who knows?
It's not even mediocrity.
May give a catcher a chance. He might turn out to be a really good player. You know, that's not getting a chance someplace else. But continuing to trot this guy out there is a number one sign that you just don't give a shit. You don't care. You don't care. Because this guy should not be on a major league roster under any circumstances. And certainly not on this one. When you need off and you can't even tag up at third base, get him out of here. Like, that's just an insult to the fans, to the organ. Like, sorry, Ben, you may be a nice guy, but bye-bye. I do not get that at all.
No, and I think I think the Rays might lead the league too in the amount of guys who have stolen on them, which is not all on the catchers. I think a lot of the
Marlins are pretty bad. The Marlins are pretty bad. They had allowed 70 of 77 at one point. That's pretty bad. I don't think we're that bad.
Yeah, I don't think we're that bad, but I was going to point out, I don't think it's just the catchers. It's also some of the pitchers. Like, it's part of they're the issue too. So, yeah, I mean, it's just mistakes galore. They don't hit home runs. They can't keep the ball out of the ballpark right now as a pitching staff. They have some base running gaffes. They ground into double plays. They struggle to hit with runners in scoring position. Like, name me one thing the Rays can hang their hat on right now as a baseball team. Name me one thing. What, Drew Rasmussen? That's it.
Yeah, he went into the 6th inning.
For the first time this year. I mean, he's been the best. He's been the best overall player for the Rays.
We got Chandler Simpson. Else. We got Chandler Simpson.
Yeah, and he had a brutal face injury. You don't see that every day.
Yeah, if you missed this, he's flying around third base trying to score. He goes to reach with his hand, and the catcher blocks him at the last second. I'm surprised he didn't get tear his shoulder up, but he hits it, and it forces his face down into the dirt as his hands try to reach out for the plate. And man, he did a face plant. And supposedly he's okay, but he didn't play yesterday. I think he might, hopefully didn't get a concussion, because that they said he was a little didn't feel well on Sunday. If that guy goes on the injured list because he's concussed, and he was hitting like 435 his last 6 games.
Yeah, he's at 301 total for the season with 9 stolen bases. Like, he's never going to be he's not a power source or anything, but he's come up clutch in some big moments. Like
huge clutch.
The only game they won this weekend against the Marlins, he had the big hit against Sergei Bobrovsky.
Get him on the board. Yeah,
that was able to get them on the board. So he's had some clutch moments, but yeah, it's as simple as say it's just not good enough. They're just a middling baseball team right now, and I don't really think it's going to get much better. I know they have 15 of their next 19 home games, or next games are at home.
Yeah,
it's like at the very least, to give themselves a shot going forward, you have to come out of that 500. But is that even possible?
Well, I still can't put a finger on why they're so bad at home. But they've got to, it's still a short sample size, relatively speaking. So, but by the end of this 19 out of 25, that won't be that's going to be basically half the season.
Yeah.
And you've got to, so hopefully regressing to the mean, they're going to be much better at home for the next, month and a half. Let's hope so. And because it's hard to get worse, but I don't think it's a thing. I don't think there's anything about it. Except, maybe the Trop was a home field advantage and this is more of a level playing field. Maybe, you're built for pitching and defense. And if you have a short porch, that leans more towards offense, but you should be able to, now that we have Josh Lowe in the lineup, he should be able to take advantage of that short porch, that Brandon Lau has not been able to do. So let's see. And I think Camaro's starting to get that inside out swing going to right field. He's hit a couple of those, and Yandy Diaz has as well. So I think we're going to be a little bit better at home, but the starting pitching's got to get better. And I think it will. I think these guys are too talented not to get back to where they were in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I think there needs to be a little bit of a tweak. I think the teams have caught up a little bit to these starters, living in the strike zone and being ahead all the time. You got it. It's a give and take all the time. And maybe they need to be a little bit more, but that really goes against, what the Rays do. And I know the analytics are solid in, when you're ahead in the count, we know this, but also other teams know this. And I think maybe they've adjusted a little bit to what the Rays are doing. All right, let's get some comments in here. Good morning to all you guys. Good morning to Bucs, Rays, and Bolts. NFL season needs to hurry up. I'm with you, brother. What are we, like 90 days out? I think we are.
Yeah, we're close.
Rays Basement says, Rays lose series to awful Marlins. Yeah, that was our tagline. Says, this makes it sound like the Rays are not awful as well. Send this team to Orlando. I do not care anymore. Stu has drained me of my care for this team. I do not think that. I do think that is a very popular opinion. Yeah, this is a boring team. It is a very boring team.
They just are. Like and part of this is not just a Rays thing. This is a baseball thing, but it's like it's just magnified when it's the Rays is the team that you watch. You turn on like playoff hockey or you turn on something else and then you flip over to the Rays and it's just like it's like you could feel like the air gets sucked out of like my living room when I turn the Rays on. They're
just boring. Also, Junior needs to be taken down to like 7th, 8th because he's not performing the way he should be where he is in the lineup. The product is embarrassing and it's all Stu's fault. Agreed.
I mean, you don't move Junior Caminero that low in line.
No, I got to keep him, I got to give him some protection.
He's still leading this team in home runs.
Yeah, if he goes to 7th or 8th, then who's batting behind him? The next two guys are.
I'd like to see him. I tell you this though, I'd like to see him draw some more walks. Yeah, how many walks do you think Junior Caminero has drawn this year, JP?
I don't know.
If you had to guess,
10,
8. He's got 8 walks. The only other he has the fewest amount of walks of any full-time player in the Rays lineup. How is that possible for your number 4 hole hitter? 8
because
walks?
He's 21. because he's 21 and he's feeling the pressure to do something because nobody else in this lineup can do anything. So what are you going to do? You're going to swing at pitches out of the strike zone because you're one of the few RBI guys and power guys in this lineup. You feel the pressure to do something, especially when you're in the 4-hole. And for young hitters, that's a death knell. That is not where you want them to be. That's not the headspace you want them to be. You can say be disciplined all you want, but they're going to feel the pressure when they're just watching their teammates ground out to second base every 5 seconds. It's after a while, and you get some guys on base, it's like, oh, I got to do something. Pitchers know this. They know he's not disciplined, and he's not going to see quality pitches. It takes years for players to get to that point, even good hitters. That's why young, inexperienced, cheap hitters don't play well in postseason or in clutch moments. That's why we runners in scoring position, we suck because we don't have disciplined hitters because they're all young and inexperienced for the most part. And they're not stacked one after the other. There's tremendous holes in this lineup everywhere you go. Morel is just an out waiting to happen, especially with runners in scoring position. And he's constantly coming up in these positions. It's just because you have no depth and meat to your lineup, and you're leaning on guys that just don't have the experience to deal with it. Martin Rudolph, good morning to you. We're actually good against the tush push, so I have no idea why we should be against it. Get good to the rest of the NFL. I'll explain to you why. RJ Martin says, I do wonder if the series looks any different if the Pussycats don't purposefully hurt Stolars. Yeah. It's a 7-game series. Does your best goalie make a difference? Especially the way Stolars was playing? I think so.
Maybe.
Did Maurice order the code red against Stolars? Probably. William Ad said, I heard Tavares might be on the market. Should Bolts go after him? That's a good question.
Who is it? Tavares?
Yeah.
No.
I don't.
He's 34, going to be 35 years old.
Yeah.
No.
And we saw a video over the weekend of Stamkos working out with Kucherov.
No.
Just no.
No, I mean, literally, I'm not into these. We don't need to go back down nostalgia runs. I don't need to see any former Bolts players added to the mix. They did this with Vlad Domestikov. They added McDonough back. They brought back Yanni Gord. Like, they've done this whole thing of we're going to get the band back together, and it's gotten them nowhere. No, they need fresh.
Well, McDonough was a great
ad, but the general point is that anytime you try to get the band back together, that never works in sports. It never does.
No, we need youth, size, nasty. That's what this team needs, in my opinion. Rick says Panthers win. Rays suck. I don't care about basketball or golf. That means 100 days of margaritas and pool time at the house while waiting for hurricanes. Oh,
I mean, margaritas and pool time at the house sounds like a hell of a summer to me.
Yeah. If you got a TV, put it out there. Watch reruns of football games. It isn't funny. Like, I see, if I'm cruising around and I stop on FL Network and they got, a playoff game from last year, I'm in. I'll rewatch it. I don't care. Bucs Rays Bolt says 11 days away from hurricane season, boys. Be careful. Have started getting emergency kit ready. Yeah. Don't overdo it. Just be smart. I mean, just because last year was really bad, just be smart every time. Everyone's different. Understand what you're dealing with. The ones last year should not have surprised you. I say this to a lot of people. I hear a lot of people say the same things. We're complacent. Why? Why are you complacent? When it dictates for you to move your cars to higher ground and get the hell out, get out. Good morning to you, More Right Rudder. Good morning to you, John Hill, Nathan Elliott. Thank you guys for jumping in here. All right. Mike H has violated one of my new rules. I don't want to hear about every Brody Brazil video that gets thrown up, but here we go. Brody is back. Says the Dreamers are now calling themselves the Doers. I think you should change your name. Yes. That might help you. So thank you for that addition, actually, Mike. I appreciate it. And again, what do they have? Videos. They got videos, Bianchi columns, and a rich guy saying he's going to throw in money. Anything from the commissioner? No. Anything from public officials? No. Did you purchase the land? No. Okay. We're good. Mike says, I like Caballero at third. What are we giving up on Junior Caminero? We're just going to give up on him?
I don't like Junior Caminero at first. So you find me a position for him.
I think he can get better at third. He's 21.
Yeah, well, my heart broke a little bit when I watched Isak Paredes hitting 3-run bombs for the Astros this weekend, and now he's coming back into town, isn't he?
Let's go. Let's revisit that trade. What the hell was that all about?
I don't know. And I heard so many Rays fans going, well, Morel wasn't the star of that deal. It was Hunter Biggie. Are you freaking kidding me? You traded all-star third baseman who's hit 30 home runs and this year has 7 home runs, 24 ribbies with 130 OPS plus, which is his career high, by the way, this year for Houston. And you're telling me, oh, well, the star of the deal was Hunter Biggie. What?
All the dude does is hit home runs, but they're all left field.
I don't give a crap. I don't care about his exit velocity when the result is fine.
Robert Williams says Boz can't hit the 4-seam at the top of the zone. He misses high. When he adjusts, it's middle. Yeah, boy, is it middle. Damn. Every time I see that 98, 99 flash up and it just gets pounded, I'm like, damn. But you put it right in the middle of the plate, these guys are going to hit it.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like there's much movement on it either.
Yeah, and this is, of course, we say this all the time. Hitters cost money, and that's not something Stu wants to give the team when he can just keep the money for himself. 100%. Age old. I think people finally figured it out now. It only took me 8 years of yelling. Mike H said, could Cash be hitting a managing wall? Does the team respond to him? Players not hustling, no sense of urgency. I will say this. The last 2 or 3 years, last 2 years especially, and I include this year, season and a half, whatever, season and a quarter, there's so many elemental, fundamental mistakes that we never used to see. That used to be a winning edge for the Rays.
Yeah.
It used to be a winning edge for the Rays. And it's just, you can't play sloppy baseball if you're the Rays. And they didn't. When they were a good team, they never played sloppy baseball. They were really big on the details. They never made stupid mistakes like that. I think Cash is a great manager to deal with it, but it's hard to defend him over the last year and a half.
He's had some interesting, I'll just straight up call it, some bad managerial decisions this year. Like, when to
when he's trying to get fired.
It's like taking guys out of the game late, to get a defensive replacement in there. And then all of a sudden you give up a run where you're down and now that big player is out of your lineup. Some of the lineup decisions where, Jonathan Aranda's killing it against everybody and they're taking him out of the lineup, the all-righty lineups against left-handed pitching that haven't worked. Some of the bullpen management, leaving guys in too long or going to the wrong guy. Like, I don't know. It's been a really odd sort of last year or so for Kevin Cash as the manager of the Rays. And everything has an expiration date. And I'm certainly not advocating for the Rays to move on from Kevin Cash. I'm not doing that. But if you're Kevin Cash, at what point do you look at it and go, I've taken this as far as I can take it. Mm-hmm. Everybody around this league knows I'm one of the best managers in baseball. Is it time for me personally to make that switch? I'm not saying I want that to happen. I'm saying I wonder if Kevin Cash comes to that point at this concession.
Yeah. No, I don't. If I were him, I'd be sick of this. The stadium issues, the lack of payroll, the analytics control. I'd be sick of it. If I were him, I'm out.
Now, I know he loves it. Obviously, he's a Tampa dude.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating for him to go anywhere because I think the Rays have bigger issues than him. At some point, players got to play, right?
Right.
Manager can only do so much.
Right.
He's got to pull his weight for the things he's being asked to do, and I don't think he has. But the Rays, it just comes down to players, and they don't have enough good ones.
It starts at the top, and they're just like, I can't blame everything else seems to me just to be side dishes. The main course absolutely is the problem. It sucks. It's spoiled meat. And until that changes, it's hard. It's just, I understand you guys nitpicking at Cash, and I get it. I'm with you on that. But I just can't worry about, the peas and carrots when the roast is just awful. It's just awful. It's so bad. It's stench. And it's gotta change. And until that does, And trust me, when it does, boy, I mean, if you can just imagine, if you will, a stadium, a real major league stadium that's accessible to the whole market, that has all the bells and whistles, and an ownership group that spends money on players and actually can go out and recruit a Kyle Tucker or Pete Alonso to come home and play in this beautiful stadium in downtown Tampa or Ybor City or wherever the F you want to put it, next to Raymond James Stadium with a sliding roof and with a huge entertainment complex surrounding it. Like, let's all gather at these beautiful structures and wonderful things that we should be able to do in this market. Imagine, if you will. And we've been thwarted by one dude who doesn't give a rat's ass about this city. And that has been proven over a gazillion times. And in Major League Baseball, golly, get this shit done. You got people who have money waiting in the wings to get this stuff rolling, to get it going. So we don't have to keep talking about some 096 hitter with a -9 OPS plus. It's a -9. Ben Rorfet, who just stays in this, like, we can't find a better Francisco Mejia and Mike H. Francisco Mejia's in the Mexican League.
Oh,
go get him.
I
don't care. It can't be worse, dude.
No.
Yes, Rick, bring up Crash Davis. Hell, go get Kenny Powers. Yes. At least it would be interesting.
I mean, at this point, the Rays are going to be
Kenny effing Powers.
At this point, the Rays are going to be picking top 10 in next year's MLB draft. If there's a top catching prospect, I'm just ripping it, man. I just got to go back to that well. I don't know. I'm tired of watching just bad catcher play for this.
Christopher Cole says the Cubs have 3 great catchers. Maybe trade y'all for one reliever. Yeah, there's got to be a better catcher in Major League Baseball than this guy.
He's got to be the worst Major League catcher in baseball. I mean, I don't know what the White Sox
stays on the roster.
I don't know what the White Sox and the Rockies and Pirates are putting out there. But
I know. Listen, changing out Ben Rorfet ain't going to change our pennant chances, but it just sends a message to the fan base like, we're not going to put up with this crap. Like, this is just ridiculous.
You can say, though, about that. You can say that about other players, too. It's not just him. It's like Curtis Mead is still on this roster.
Curtis Mead is still on the roster.
Why?
At what point?
Why?
At what point?
I've been watching, as much as he was so good last year, I've been watching Edwin Yacida for 20 games this year. He doesn't have it. Stop putting him in high leverage situations. He does not have it.
All right, we got to hit a break. We're way late. Let's hit a break. We'll come back on the other side. I got some questions on college football we're going to get to. John Hill, absolutely. We got the Caitlin Clark stuff to get to, and Angel Reese. Simeon Rice going into the Ring of Honor today. He'll have his press conference. The Tush Push stuff. We're going to get to all that stuff and more. Of course, Scotty Scheffler. Did you see his driver was tagged too? His driver was illegal before. He had to switch drivers, and he still won the tournament. Rory did not. All right, all that and more coming up. We're coming to you from the Jeeves Law Group studio. Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com is the website. If you're injured in an accident, you got to call them. Be the first one to call them. Size does matter, and you don't want it too big. You want it just right, and that's the Jeeves Law Group. They've got enough moxie and a local knowledge here in the legal area to get what you need. They're local, they are trusted, and they get results. The Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. 930 spokesman offices, Tampa St. Pete. Back in 3. Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to Don't go uncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Insurance is skyrocketing like everything else, right? How much money are you spending on insurance? Go ahead, add it up. Go on your budgeting and look at life insurance, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, flood insurance, business insurance, all these things that you have to have. Now, if you have to have them, and we agree on that, you need to have them, you got to get the best price. So, and shop it often. Don't sit around and just pay the same companies over and over because they jack up your rates every year. It's incremental. Shop it around. Let Italiano do that for you. 813-877-7799. If you have 7 or 8 different insurance products you're paying for and they save you 10% on each of them, that's significant money. Significant money. And I'm telling you, it changes all the time. And that's why I have them do it all the time. Every time my auto insurance comes up, shop it around, shop it around, shop it around. Like a year ago, they saved me $1,000 on 6 months. I mean, that's significant money. So make sure you do that. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Great customer service. You're not going to be waiting on hold or doing any of that shenanigans. They'll take care of you and get right back to you. That's the way they do it over there at Italiano Insurance. All right, let me get to some of the comments here. So I read the one comment on the Tush push, and they're going to vote on this tomorrow and Wednesday. Now, I know a lot of you feel like, oh, listen, we're good against the Tush push. And why should we, vote against something that just one team has perfected? And I get that. And I like the fact that Todd Bowles has come out and said, yeah, we've stopped it a few times, but let's not get it twisted. We've stopped it a few times, but they've also made it more times than we've stopped it, like by a large margin. It is a huge weapon for the Eagles. Huge weapon. And philosophically, do I think we should vote against it? No, I don't. I agree with you. I think you shouldn't punish teams for being really good at something that's not against the rules currently, and then change the rule because one team can do it better than anybody else. That said, who's one of our chief rivals in the NFC? If not, I think the best team in the NFC, the Eagles. We play them in the regular season like we do every freaking year. Okay? And we're probably, if you're going to get to the Super Bowl, you're probably going to have to beat them. Somebody's going to have to beat them, and it might be you. So, selfishly, should the Bucs vote against it? Hell yes, they should. Philosophically, I don't agree. And this may not be the most ethical thing in the world to do. But if it's win at all costs, I'm not a fan of that. I don't, the Machiavellian thing, I'm not a fan of that at all. But if imagine if the Bucs vote was the swing vote that outlawed the tush push, would it hurt the Eagles? Yes, it would. Yes, it would. And I think dramatically so. I think it would dramatically hurt them. So I philosophically, I'm with you, Todd. And the Bucs have had better success than most. But if you're going to be able to take away a weapon from one of your chief rivals, you do it. You do it. Am I wrong?
I mean, the general principle is, to me, nonsense, because as much as the tush push, it chaps my ass sometimes, no pun intended. When you feel like you've stopped them, and then you're like, oh, we got to defend now, 4th down, and we all know it's coming, and we all know they're going to pick it up. And last year in the playoff game, against Washington, with the weirdness that went on there at the goal line, where there were like penalties being called for players jumping over the pile. Like, I'm not saying that all that did not like frustrate me as a fan, because like you just want to watch the game happen naturally. But I mean, nobody's stopping all the other teams from doing it. I mean, that's what everybody says, but it's true. Like, and you've seen like Buffalo try to do it with Josh Allen. It doesn't work to the same effect. It just, for whatever reason, Philadelphia has mastered that play. Nobody else has, and that's on everybody else to figure it out. Like, I don't like the idea of like someone finds a way to a new play or something in a sport that's been being played for hundreds of years, right? And all of a sudden, because everyone can't stop it, or everybody thinks like, oh, this is annoying, well, now we need to change it. I think that's such a loser way to look at it from an organizational standpoint. I hear your argument though, like from a competitive standpoint, like, yeah, it would probably be a little bit better if we did not have to defend that play. But I don't like the precedent that sets, that every time we find something new in the game that's innovative, well, now we got to get rid of it. I just don't like that principle. I
agree with everything you said. I'm voting against it, or voting for banning it, whatever you want to say. Seriously, I mean, I'm all for it. Everything you said is absolutely right. But in the end, there's a lot of stuff that's not fair in the NFL.
Life ain't fair.
Life ain't fair, right? Life ain't fair. But at this point, the Eagles, that is a weapon for them. And they're one of your chief rivals, if not the chief rival that you got to beat. You got them on your schedule. Are they going to be easier to beat if we outlaw that? Yes. That is not debatable.
Well,
that is 100%.
I would argue
debatable.
I would argue if you look at the Bucs' record against the Eagles over the last however many years, tush push, you can do whatever you want. You can't beat the Bucs. So I'll just put that out there right now.
They beat us last year. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean, they're a good team. They're a really good team, and it's a weapon. It is an absolute
They didn't
weapon.
beat the Bucs last year.
I'm thinking. Wait.
They beat them in 2023, but then the Bucs got them in the postseason. I think the Bucs 6-1 in their last 7 games against the Eagles.
Wait, hold on. My brain just.
Yeah, last year the Bucs got them because AJ didn't play. Devonta didn't.
Oh, that's right. What
You're thinking of week 4 the year prior.
Yes,
when they beat us on Monday night, but then the Bucs got them in the playoffs. But my point is the Bucs are 6-1 against the Eagles.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, last year they didn't have those two guys. My bad. So that's the game I was thinking about. Yeah, they've been fine, but again, it's a weapon. It's a weapon. Why not take it away from them if you can? Why not take it away from them if you can?
Well, I think the other team should find a 350-pound interior defensive lineman, and
well, maybe that's why we got Desmond Watson,
and then also get 450 pounds and put them next. Other teams should just figure it out.
Yeah, Yeah. Again, if I'm the Bucs, I'm voting against it.
I don't think the Bucs would do that though. I can't see like the Bucs organization being against that.
I think they should be.
Maybe they should be, but I can't see them doing it.
Why? Then they're making a mistake. They're making a mistake, in my opinion.
But I feel the same way though about so the other thing that's on the table is the whole reseeding after the first round in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I believe it's the Lions who are bringing it to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And my take on that is, okay, I understand the Lions are a great football team, but for a long time, you weren't even in the discussion when it came to the playoffs. And all of a sudden, you lose one playoff game to a wild card, and now you want to change the entire postseason seeding? I ain't buying it. There ain't nothing wrong with the postseason.
And here's my argument against it. Schedules are pretty consistent within divisions, except for, the Bucs will play. If you're finished first, you're going to play the number one team in the division. You're gonna have a tougher schedule, but you're gonna play the same teams out of you play other divisions, right? You play those same teams. So in division, your schedules are pretty similar. Now outside your division, your schedules can be ridiculously different. So look at the 49ers schedule this year. This is one of the reasons people got them winning 10 games. Okay, they're at the Seahawks, at the Saints, awful. I mean, how many playoff teams do they have on their schedule here? Seahawks, okay, 1. They open there. Week 2 at the Saints. Then the Cardinals at home. Jaguars, Rams, Bucs, Falcons, no playoffs. Texans, none. Giants, they get the Giants as well. Then the Rams again. Then the Cardinals. Then the Panthers. Then the Browns. Then the Titans. Then the Colts. Then the Bears. And then Seattle. I mean, you put that schedule up against the Bucs schedule and now say, if the 49ers win 11 games with that one, they should be seated ahead of the Bucs who won 10 games with a much more difficult schedule. So I think that's a solid reason why you should not I think divisions matter because your schedules are so similar within the division. And that schedule is a joke compared to the Bucs schedule and other schedules. So I'm going to disagree with that. I'm going to disagree. I think, and I don't think it'll pass. Do you?
It seems like such a radical thing to change, doesn't it?
Yeah. Without good reason. Like, what's the reason? Oh, well, if you win more games in a regular season, you should. Yes, but again, the schedules aren't similar in a lot of different cases.
You want my just overarching take on all this stuff, JP? It's like, there's nothing wrong with, I shouldn't say there's nothing wrong with the game right now, because I think some people would say there are fundamental parts of the game itself, not rules, but some rules too. But this league's making a gazillion dollars. I mean, people are watching at record rates. There's no need to do anything, is my point. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I just feel like the league is
they broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. The league is in such a healthy spot. We've had this system for years. I didn't think that there was this much, people that were complaining about this until this came up in the first place. Just why change anything?
I agree. I mean, there are some things I think the tush push problem is because I think the biggest thing was that playoff game. And the Redskins said, listen, the only way to stop this is to do this, especially when you get to that 1 yard line. Okay, penalize me half the distance. What does it matter? It doesn't matter. And you could just keep doing that. And for the ref to have to come on and say, we can award them a touchdown. I'm like, what? Wait, what? How, what? It's that, and then it becomes a farce, right? So you can't have that. And I think that's what really kind of led to the impetus of this. And I think it's also a safety concern. I think it's absolutely a safety concern. And, there's players I would not want to be at the bottom of that pile. That's for
no.
Sure. And I think, being able to push, that's the problem with this. Because if you watch, the initial push of Jalen Hurts doesn't always get what they need. In fact, a lot of times it doesn't. But when he gets pushed in the back, that's what carries him over. So I think if you just go back to the old rule where you can't assist somebody, I think it doesn't work. I don't think it's nearly as effective. And then you're okay. That's where everything changed. That the push part of that is what it's not. I mean, they do a great job of that wedge, wedging it together and pushing. And you got a quarterback who can squat, a gazillion pounds. That's a big part of it. But if you watch the play, he's initially stalemated a lot of the times. And it's that two guys coming from behind him and pushing the pile that makes the difference. So change that, and I think you're good. Just go back to the old rule where you can't assist a player. Hell, I think it was our guy. I think it was Ben Bredesen who picked up Mayfield, threw him into the end zone. Or I think it was Bucky, basically pulled him into the end zone. And I think that's part of the problem.
Isn't that did they ever do the isn't that the college this happened way before or I was born, but I was young. The whole Bush push thing. Isn't that was this a similar principle and was that play even legal at the time in college and that was the controversy?
Yeah. I think it was illegal to do it and he got pushed into it. Yeah. I think
but it wasn't called, so that was the controversy.
Right.
So this has already been in college football where you can't do this stuff.
Yep. Alvarado gets popped for 80 games, a former Rays pitcher. Now the Phillies' pen is a bit of a pickle. Mario says, yeah.
Well, that's their problem.
Yeah, that's a hit for them. But another
a weight loss. He took a weight loss pill or something, they said. Yeah. Apparently.
So Ozempic is now performance enhancing drug?
I don't know. 80 games though, and no playoff eligibility.
Yeah. Bucs brought the team back together. Yeah, totally different thing. Totally different thing. They kept the team together. They didn't bring back guys for the most part, right? They kept the team together. It's not like people were leaving and then coming back, which I think was your point.
Yes.
John Hill says, JP, your thoughts on Illinois head football coach quotes? Yes, Brett Bielema. See if I can find this. Basically said, I think you have the quote down here. It says, whether we're all shopping at Walmart or Louis Vuitton, as long as we're shopping at the same mall, I can live with that. Yeah, evidently. So Illinois had $5 million in NIL budget last year.
Yeah.
While, teams were working with $30 and $40 million. Now, this house settlement, which is supposed to be done last year, I don't understand what's taking this house settlement so long. Now, as when I sat with Michael Alford for a couple hours, the FSU athletic director, and he explained this to me, this new house settlement, that's going to take care of a lot of these issues with NIL. So I think that's just get that done, and I think we're going to solve a lot of that problem because these other teams are not going to be able to spend $30 or $40 million on NIL unless they find ways for these guys to actually earn it, which is going to be hard to do because none of them, I've explained this before, so if you've heard it before, I apologize. But what Alford said was they're now going to have basically an accounting firm looking at these NIL deals saying you got to do something to make $4 million. You got to do something. You got to do podcasts. You got to do autograph signings. You got to go out and do something that's worth that much money in order to get the money, which is it's not, you can't just have a booster say, or a collective say, we're going to give X amount of dollars to these players.
Yeah. I think even Charles Barkley had a good quote about this week. And Charles to me usually hits the nail on the head with these sort of things. And he said, I've given more money to Auburn, legal or illegal, than any athlete in the history of the school. And the notion that I'm going to come up with a couple $1 million every year so that we can be good at basketball and football, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I think
it's unsustainable.
It's unsustainable. And there was even like for instance, this past week, the number one overall player in this year's recruiting class, the offensive lineman, Jackson Cantwell, he committed to Miami, and Georgia and Oregon were in the running. And he can deny whatever, it wasn't about the money, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's always about the money. And he probably got at least $1 million, if not more, to go play for Miami. And Georgia apparently was not willing to match the offer.
Mm-hmm. Georgia.
As a fan of Miami, you're happy that your school's willing to do that to secure the number one player. I'm not saying that. But the principle of this is what is so wrong to me, in that this is not a star wide receiver who, like a Jeremiah Smith, who was the number one player last year, who you knew was going to come right in and he was going to be an impact player for Ohio State, and he was. This is offensive tackle. How many freshman offensive tackles, JP, do you know come right in and are starting day one at a big program?
Very difficult.
Very difficult to do. So
Very
they go and spend $1 million plus to go land the number 1 overall recruit who's an offensive tackle.
Oh, it's way more than $1 million.
And way over $1 million probably. And he's not even. Is he going to play year 1? Probably not. Is he going to play year 2?
Well, that's the problem.
But we don't know. But like, look how much money you're having to spend just to get a player in your program, and that doesn't guarantee he's going to stay with you. Because what if he doesn't play year 1 and he goes, "Well, you didn't play me year 1, and I wanted to play, and I was a number 1 over." You see what I'm saying? Like that to me is what's so silly about it.
Well, that's part of the problem, because if he doesn't play, just what you said, then so the coaches are actually forced to play him. When you pay him that much money, you're forced to play him because the coach is going to, or the collective going to, hey, listen, man, we got to keep this kid. We have, $10 million invested in this kid.
Mm-hmm.
We got to keep him. You got to play him. Well, he's not ready. I don't care. Well, you got to play him. That should never happen. That conversation should never happen. And I think, you can't tell me it didn't happen with DJ Uiagalelei. Can't tell me that. I'm not going to believe it. Either Mike Norvell is the worst offensive coach in the history of coaches, or there was something in that NIL deal that made him start every game that he was healthy. Because when he was not healthy, and it wasn't even a major issue, super major, and why did he never came back? Okay.
Yeah. That's just what I'm saying. Like this whole like structure we have right now where, teams are relying on, their notable alumni to kick in money and all this kind of stuff. It's like, who's to say, like whoever decided that this is just some endless stream of funds that's going to, right. You can guarantee is going to be there every single year.
Well, look at Florida State. I mean, 2 years ago, we spent that NIL money. Great. We really did. Last year, you got to go back to the same donors and say, hey, we need another $4 million. After that,
probably conservative speaking.
The way you spent it last year?
If it's going to say Illinois spending $5 million, how much do you think Florida State's spending?
Well, I'm just saying one guy, one booster.
Maybe one guy, but Florida State's probably spending between 10 and 15 million on their roster to put out 2 and 10.
Right. You think those same people are coming out? No, it's unsustainable. And as again, a house settlement's going to take care of a lot of this. So that's good. Bucs Rays both said, remember Rays had offer Aaron Judge. Hope you're being comical on that. You were. Nathan Elliott says, when Stu Sternberg finally gives up and sells the team, JP will bust the biggest nut of his entire life. You're damn right I will. And I won't be alone. Mary Christus says, that's why I'm having a hard time understanding why the Pirates and Rockies fire their managers. The GMs gave them no chance to adding to payrolls. I know. It's like, what the hell are they going to do? I don't get that. I don't
like the Orioles firing Brandon Hyde either. I think they got the wrong guy. I think you got the wrong guy.
Mike H says the Orioles imploded so quickly. They have new ownership, $600 million into stadium improvements. Yeah, what's going on in Baltimore is weird. But you know what isn't? At least you're doing something. You're showing.
No, I think what they have done is just as offensive as what the Rays have done. JP, I think it is because they made their fans sit through absolute crap for 5 or 6 years while they were able to draft all these great players, and then they go to the playoffs 2 years in a row. They don't win a single playoff series. And then this year, when you already had Corbin Burns in the building, you don't make a competitive offer to keep an elite pitcher in Major League Baseball around. You don't make a competitive offer to keep Anthony Santander around. And you decide to go replace them with Tyler O'Neill, who's always hurt. And by the way, he's hurt again. Kyle Gibson, old man Kyle Gibson, who just got DFA'd yesterday, and 41-year-old Charlie Morton.
Yeah.
And then you said, we're here to compete, guys. No, you're not. You're cheap. You're cheap. I think what they've done is just as offensive. And now the manager has to pay for it. But you know what? Baltimore's worse than the Rays right now somehow. So
I would agree with that, except the fact that they do have a deep-pocketed owner that will spend some money. And
I'd like to see him prove it.
Well, we'll see. Give the guy a little bit of time.
You had Corbin Burns. You didn't sign him. You replaced him with Charlie Morton and whatever his name is, Kyle Gibson.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's give him a little bit of time. I don't like what he's done so far. I agree with that, but let's give him a little bit of time and see what they do. John Hill says most college NIL rosters could measure in the $40 million range for the 2025 season. The biggest spenders: Ohio State, Texas, Miami, Notre Dame, Texas Tech because of the oil money. Yeah, listen, this year is going to be another wild, wild west, but it's unsustainable. And I think after this year, that house settlement should finally be done, and then we'll be. I think it'll be drastically reduced. Brandon Weed said Joe Madden did the same thing. He took the team all the way he could with what Stu gave him. That's why Joe said, I'm out of here and I'm going to go coach the Cubs to a World Series. Absolutely. At some point, we're talking about Kevin Katz. At some point, and they never made a competitive offer to Joe Madden. And as you look back on it now, it was like Joe was starting to have success, right? He was being very popular. He had great success. But and he wanted $5 million a year. And the Rays did not even make a competitive offer because Joe would have stayed had they made anything significant offer. But I think what was even more damaging and scary for Stu was Joe was getting a little bit of autonomy. And Joe was like, no, I don't want to do this analytics 99% of the time anymore.
Well, he does it now, and that's why he's not in baseball.
That's right. And he said, I'm not doing that. And they went out and got, pardon it. I mean, with all due respect to Kevin Cash, a young, inexperienced manager that was going to do what he was told to get the opportunity. Now, I think Cash has the gravitas now that Madden had to go do his own stuff. And I don't think a lot of this stuff there's no way he's putting out that right-handed lineup, in my opinion. That's not him. But some of the in-game decisions are his, not all the time. Analytics drives a lot of those as well. And it seems like it's coming to a head. I think the Rays will want to, if Stu stays in charge, he's going to go to a more inexperienced manager that they can truly control. Well,
unfortunately, the events that happened on, I can't even remember the exact date anymore. What was it? August 13th? Unfortunately, August 13th, 2023, to me, that's just, I point to that date, and I think you can figure out what that date is, JP, and everybody. That was the whole Wander Franco thing when he was first placed on the restricted list. Unfortunately, I just think that was the beginning of this sort of downfall for this team. I think up until that point, you felt very good about the team back then. You felt very good about where they were heading. And I think that day changed everything. And having to recover from that is very difficult. I'm not saying that there's things the Rays couldn't have done also, but you can't plan for that when that happens. And I unfortunately feel like the vibes of this franchise have never reached what they were before that day. And that's my opinion.
I don't disagree with that, but that was heading in the wrong direction already.
Yeah, there were some other things, but we never saw it going to that direction.
But do you think he would still be here, even if none of this had happened? Because his contract is escalated to real money now.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
And we all know what happens when contracts escalate to real money.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who the player is, Longoria, Price. It doesn't matter who it is. You're traded.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying that player, for what he was as a player, an all-around player and a talent, that's a hard thing to get over. And then a big scar that left on the organization. And I just feel like it's been one scar after the other since then.
Well, but again, it all starts at the top. And that's, again, I think Franco would probably be, if not last year, then this year, he would have been traded. No matter what.
If beyond what happens, if the stuff that happened in the clubhouse before continued, maybe.
And at that point, you got to trade him because you can't have that in the clubhouse. I don't care how good the player is. Daniel Rivera says, I just read somewhere that there's no land for a new ballpark, no money and no financing. We all know that that's all BS. The land is there. There are three who wrote this? There's no land for a new ballpark, no money and no financing. Point me in the right direction for that, Daniel, and we'll debunk it right away. It's ridiculous. This feels like college football playoff format. For what the
reseeding thing.
Yeah. I disagree with it wholeheartedly. Whole point of playing division is it doesn't matter no more. Absolutely. Then why be in divisions if you're going to do that? Totally agree. Just make it one conference. James says maybe you could say if a division winner has a losing record, but other than that, no change. That's interesting. Yeah, because it's kind of hard. Like if you're 8-9 and you're getting a higher seed than a team that's won 14 games, that seems a little ridiculous.
Well, it's like there's a couple arguments to that. It's what was the Broncos? They had their miracle game against the Steelers in the 2010 playoffs, and they were probably 500, I think, and won their division.
Yeah.
So we got that great moment.
The Tebow game?
Yeah. The year before that was the beast mode run, the 7-9 Seahawks against the Saints gave us that moment. But then again, 2022, the Bucs were 8-9? And they immediately went and proved that they had no business being in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. It depends on the season, but I think just in general, I don't think this is an issue. And I think you got it with this, the way your scheduling works out, like I pointed out with this 49ers schedule, like if they won one more game than the Bucs, you would say and they didn't win their division and they're seated above you, that would be wrong.
I just totally like I like divisional games mattering. I do. I like it. I like it when they put them all at the end of the season and you get that week 18, week 17 drama.
Rick says, JP, if you're gonna disagree with Nick on purpose, at least use your phony Stephen A. Smith voice. AKA Fred Sample.
I disagree, and here's why. Put that camera on me. I want to see all y'all.
Like you can see them. More messages coming in. Why don't we put Vita Vea? Football makes harder me attack us. I have no idea what that means. Put that up there. Mike Sorgo says, why not have the same rules to the tush push as the inside kickoff rule? Only fourth quarter and you have to announce it. That seems really contrived.
What was it? I missed the comment.
Basically, the onside kickoff, you have to declare it in the fourth. You have to declare it first, and then
and I think that's silly too.
Yeah, that seems really, really contrived, and I think
too many rules. Just too many rules.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. All right, what else, sir? Am I still viewing comments? Yes, we are, Young Swag. We're viewing and talking about them. And thank you for putting it in here. James says, Mike Borville is the worst offensive coach, JP. 2-10 at FSU, still haven't recovered, and now ACC is where they stay until maybe 2027. Horrible. Yeah, somebody asked me the other day on Twitter, what I think it might have been James, like, what do we get out of this whole lawsuit thing? Well, we got more money that we asked for, and we got the drastically reduced and finite number to get out of the conference. So those are two major, those are the things we asked the conference to do before we went to litigation. Like, can we get this? And the conference said, under no circumstances will this ever happen, blah, 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 blah. Well, it took a lawsuit to get it done, but we got it done. So I think it was worth it. I think they had to do it. They had no choice. The status quo was not working, and it was completely unfair to Florida State. And if anybody wants to debate me on that, bring it on. Any other athletic director should have done this years ago for FSU, but we had a bunch of feckless people running the program for a very long time. So, it was never going to happen. They were content to get screwed every year. And finally, FSU got some people with backbone in administration that said, you know what, we're not doing this anymore. And they got what they wanted. So I think it was great. Mario Christian says, I'm going to be curious how USF handles all of that NIL circumstance with its players. Well, they're going to have $20 million, $20.5 million to spend on their players, which they hadn't had before. So I think it definitely levels the playing field for USF in a huge way. If I'm reading this correctly, how this is going to go, every team's going to have $20.5 million to divvy up to pay their players.
Yeah, but then, of course, you still have the issue where the SEC and the Big Ten are running this whole playoff system, and now they're trying to. It's like we can't even walk before we run. We just got it to 12 teams, right? And before we can even enjoy that for a few years, Greg Sankey and everybody at the SEC and the Big Ten are trying to pull their power play where they get all these automatic bids. And I think I'm just so against that. Yeah, so it's like, we're trying to even the playing field here so we don't have such a gap between those two conferences and everybody else like there is now. And at the same time, they want to continue to give themselves all these automatic bids.
Well, look, these are two totally different entities. What's going on in the House settlement is college football wide that the courts are imposing. The SEC and the Big Ten have no power over that.
Well, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Everything that they can have power over, they've usurped.
But that's what I'm saying, though. We're trying to level a playing field in college football from the NIL standpoint and how much these rosters can be, how much they can be worth. But then at the same time, the two current conferences are trying to levy their power on the playoff, which once we have hopefully the even playing field with money that can be spent on rosters, there won't be any need to have the SEC and Big Ten get all the spots in the playoff. That's what I mean by it. Like they're still trying to hold their advantage in one way or the other.
And they will. Again,
they're going to.
Not fair, but works for them. What the Bucs should be doing with the Tush push.
It's back to the Tush push.
That's right. Young Swag said, I got a few questions regarding the Tampa ownership groups. Is there any kind of update you can give regarding these groups? Because there hasn't been a whole lot of updates regarding these groups. Well, that's a good thing. Okay. Do you want them to negotiate out in public? Like, hey, we offered Stu this, and he said no. We have this. They're not going to do that. Major League Baseball doesn't want that. You know, this is not how sales work. You don't see the public negotiating going on. But there's information that we have passed on to you for a long time about what's going on behind the scenes. I know who the groups are. I know who's being taken seriously, and we've told you. Like the groups that have gone public, Carter McCain, Joe Malloy's group, these groups, they go public. The Orlando Dreamers, they go public to get Major League Baseball's attention. The group working behind the scenes that has deep pockets and doing deals or not doing deals, but having the discussions with the people in place to get sites, to get construction, to get plans, to do all these things that they need to go have this all done behind the scenes before they go public. It doesn't happen out in the public eye, and it's not going to. So the less you hear, the better. And you can do this is why everybody freaks out about the Orlando's thing. You can have all the videos you want, talk about it all you want. Brody Brazil does these videos because it gets you guys click on it. And I don't blame him. There's nothing new coming out of any of it. Nothing. It's just all regurgitated material. And every time he puts one out, you guys click on it. Why? He's going to keep doing it. So, but it means nothing in terms of getting a deal done. So I know you guys want information and you want to hear things and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. It's just not going to be that way. It's not going to be that way. And it may go belly up. Stu may decide that, he's going to fight them, Major League Baseball, take them to court too, and protract this whole damn thing. Who knows? He's the wild card. And his behavior up until this point has not been consistent with any other owner in any other league ever in terms of building stadiums, ever. So, and moving things forward. So, unless Major League Baseball can force him to sell, which I think they can, I think they have that power. It may take longer than many of us want or should take. But if you have an intransigent owner that just is built differently, which I think he's proven that he is, then you got to deal with this stuff. It's nobody else's fault. And I hope we all know this. None of this would have had to happen if we had competent ownership and consistent ownership to what other baseball teams and leagues have had. This guy's different. He's just built differently and not in a good way, in my opinion. All right, let's take another break. When we come back, we got to hit more on I have not talked about Simeon Wright's got his presser coming up today. There may be a backup quarterback issue people are bringing up in Tampa Bay with the Buccaneers. I think that's an interesting discussion as well. And then Nick's got some other things he wants to talk about and get off his. We haven't done Scotty Scheffler. I'm going to get to that. Some major news on that today as well. We are brought to you by On-Site Construction and Restoration, folks. If you're looking to restore your home after the hurricane, you had some bad work done because you had to hire a bad contractor. I get it. A lot of that out there. OnSiteConstructionFL.com is the website. Go see my buddy Jason Fawcett. He will take care of it. He'll fix what wasn't fixed correctly. He can do new add-ons. He can do building from scratch, commercial and residential. Great company, over 1,400 jobs done locally, 20 years of experience. Go see all their great reviews on onsiteconstructionfl.com. Back in 3. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. You know, we told you about the amazing Diamond Savings Account where your diamond never loses its value. Well, now, through the end of May, the Gold and Diamond Source will double your trade-in value up to $2,500. Just bring in your jewelry to trade and your $2,500 piece turns into $5,000. It's time to upgrade that ring, earrings, whatever. We have gemologists on site to make the deal. Double your trade value up to $2,500. Gets you $5,000 to spend. So go through your jewelry box and get that stuff you never wear and get something new and stylish that you're going to love. Great experience, and we will double your trade-in now till the end of May. We can finance you as well. No interest for 5 years. Only at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road. Always online at goldendiamond.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, you're going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show. It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. Hey, Tampa Bay, it's time to get your AC unit ready for summer. And here at Third Generation Plumbing and Mechanical, we recommend getting ahead of the game, keeping your family cool before the hot summer months with one of our maintenance agreements in the hopes of avoiding the dreaded emergency service call. Our maintenance agreements include, we'll test the electrical components, check and tighten high and low voltage wire connections. We'll check the refrigerant for manufacturer's performance levels, test thermostats, calibrate if needed, clean the evaporator coil and condenser coil, and clear and treat the drain line and drain pans. Just call us at 813-961-8024 for the special rates, and a human will actually answer. 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Monday following two brutal Game 7s. I was hoping for so much drama, but we got nothing. We're brought to you by the Golden Diamond Source. They're doing their trade-in value match up to $2,500. So if you bring your trade-in to the Golden Diamond Source, they will match it up to $2,500. So you'll have $5,000 to spend on a new ring, new earrings, new whatever you want to do. So Golden Diamond Source, if you purchase something there, you want to bring it in to trade it up, this is the week or the weeks to do it here until the end of May. That's at the Gold and Diamond Source. And by the way, gold, I think, is up to $3,000 an ounce or something. So if you guys got old gold jewelry, bring it in because they're paying top dollar for that right now. And that's stuff that you've been sitting in your jewelry box or your wife's jewelry box. Say, hey, honey, gonna go buy you something new. She probably won't even miss it. Yeah, you better ask first. You better ask first before you take it. Oh, that was a sentimental value. And you're dead. Yeah, don't do that. Ask first and then bring it in and get top dollar at the gold and diamond source. All right. Scotty Scheffler yesterday. We thought this was going to be some drama as he goes 2 over par on the front 9. He was not hitting his driver well. And by the way, the PGA or USGA, I said, they test, I guess, a third of the field every week for drivers and abnormalities. If you hit a driver for a long time, if you hit the same driver, especially these pros that hit it in the same millimeter every time, the face of the driver gets a little bit more bouncy because it thins out and it gets a little bit more bouncy. And there's a level of bounce that you can have on a driver. And once it exceeds that, and I don't know how they test this, but once it exceeds that, then it becomes an illegal driver. Rory's was taken away right before the PGA, and so was Scotty Scheffler's. Now, the PGA doesn't announce this, which is weird. So you have a sport where the players self-police themselves all the time. But the PGA Tour never announces when they suspend a player or why. They never announce, these violations. The players bring them up to the media, which I think is weird. And transparency, why don't they just announce it? And then everybody kind of says, oh, it's no big deal. It happens all the time. Use a driver, blah, 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 blah. Well, how long was it illegal? When Rory won the Masters, was it illegal? They just didn't test it. And when you test it and it's illegal, they find out it's illegal, then there's really no sanction except you take the driver away. That seems like a bizarre way to do things, bizarre. So, I mean, how hard is it to test these drivers? Can they do it every week? Can they test everybody's drivers? It seems a little weird to me.
I feel like this only became a story, though, because Rory was struggling to hit fairways with his driver.
Yeah, because he was the one that pointed out. And I guess he said, well, I have put a new driver in play this week. Well, why'd you do that? You just won the Masters.
Yeah.
Well, of course I wouldn't do it on my own. It was taken away from me.
Yeah.
So, and I guess Scheffler admitted it as well. Now Scheffler went out and had some issues with his driver early on. He was just hanging in the first 2 rounds and nobody ran away with it because the course was so tough.
It was a weird tournament, no? It
really was a weird tournament because you had the mud balls to begin it. And, Johnny Vegas is at the top, what? And a bunch of no names. So you had the whole lift clean in place debate, which I thought was interesting.
It took so long, though, for the leaderboard to take shape until halfway through round 4, where at one point it was Scheffler, DeChambeau, and Rahm were 1, 2, 3. And it was we're going to get this epic finish. And at one point, Rahm nailed that putt there on the back 9 to would he take the outright lead, or I think he might have
he tied Scotty for the lead at 9 under.
9 under.
Yeah. And then he made a couple more birdies, but then he missed short putts at 13 and 14, really makeable putts.
Yeah. And then he collapsed at the Green Mile.
Yeah. In 17, the pin on 17 was ridiculous. There was no way you were going to get it close. It was impossible, especially if you're hitting a draw. And he went after it and, it went right in the water, and then he was toast.
Yeah, all this tournament told me, and this is not some crazy take, but Scotty Scheffler is the best golf player in the world. I actually think the gap between him and the second best player, whoever you think it is, I think it's still quite large because Scotty, I don't even feel like Scotty finished 11 under for this tournament. I feel like Scotty had to grind his way to 11 under. I think he had maybe his C+ game, B- game the entire tournament. I don't think he had his best stuff.
Nope.
And on Sunday, as I'm watching this unfold, I kept saying to myself, if Scotty just plays even par the rest of the day and dares or just, beg somebody to get themselves into contention, if he just plays even par, I think he's going to be fine. And lo and behold, he finishes exactly even, and he comfortably wins by 5 strokes. And I know John Rahm, tested it a little bit. I know Fitzpatrick was in play at times. I know DeChambeau was there, but Rahm completely imploded in the final 5 holes of the tournament. And DeChambeau, I almost felt like he was he feels like he has superpowers sometimes, I feel like, DeChambeau. Yeah. And it's he's trying to prove to everybody that he can do something, but it just wasn't working yesterday. And my point is that How many times did you see where there'd be like a 220 yard, 230 yard iron shot, and he's trying to hit a club that like really nobody else has any business using to hit that distance, and he would try to stretch it out there? And how many times did he land it like 60 feet away from the hole or short or whatever? It's like he just kept doing that over and over and over, and it's like make an adjustment. Like the PGA Championship, and you're trying to chase Scotty Scheffler, and it's like you're trying to hit all these long shots with these clubs that I don't think were the ones he should have picked. I know I'm not the pro golfer here, but that was just my opinion on it. Scheffler just played even par, and he let everybody else just sort of implode around him.
It's the Jack Nicklaus strategy. Like, you just don't give it away. Let them come chase you. And Scotty and the other players talk about this. It's like you get 2 or 3 strokes behind, and you're like, God, because he's not going to make any mistakes. He's just not. He's not gonna shoot a final round 79. Like, even on the front 9, he was like, I'm hitting it left. I'm hitting it left. So his caddy did something really interesting on 10. Like really interesting strategy. Aim more to the right. Oh, okay. So we did. Did you see Rory early on in the week? He hit a drive and he just looked at the face of his driver. Like, what the hell was that? Because he had a new driver in the bag. He couldn't drive the ball. Like, everybody thought he'd win at Quail Hollow because he's one of the greatest drivers in the history of the game. He couldn't hit a fairway. He was in the rough the whole time. But Scotty was able to make the adjustment, and Rory wasn't. Now, Scotty, the first 2 days was not great. He was missing fairways because he had a new driver. And
not great, by the way, is still like, oh, you're in the top 10.
Right, exactly. But not dominant like he normally is.
Right.
And so, but he was able to make the adjustment. And I think his overall game was better, and he just grinded it out. And then on the back 9, he hit every shot where he was supposed to hit it. Even on 17, he's like, I'm not going after that pin. I'm going to hit it short and right, and I'll chip it up, see if I can make par. Yeah. Now, at that point, he had a big enough lead. He could do that. I get it. And Rahm had to go after it, but that's the pressure that Scheffler puts on you. He's not going to make any major mistakes.
Yeah,
he's not gonna.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's just so far and away the best golfer in the world. I don't think that's changing anytime soon. Like, to the point where, like, look at the golfers who missed the cut this weekend. I mean, Spieth, Justin Thomas. Like, everybody finally was like, "Oh, this is going to be the tournament where Justin Thomas gets right back to competing against majors," and it was not. Even Ludwig Oberg, who you've seen at the top of the leaderboard at so many majors lately, he misses the cut. Matsuyama misses the cut, which he never does in majors. Morikawa shot like 2 over for the tournament, or 4 over for the tournament. I'm sorry. Rory shot 3 over for the tournament. Schauffele didn't have his best stuff. Hasn't had his best stuff all year because of the injury. But my point with that, it's like, can you ever see Scheffler just missing a cut at a major or playing 2 over or 4 over? Well, it's just, you can't even process it. It's not going to happen.
Well, in the last 2 years, he's either come close, last year's PGA, if not for his arrest, I honestly believe he wins that tournament.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of that, did you see the Nike ad yesterday?
Which one?
Nike put out their ad right after when Scheffler won. And it's a picture of him swinging the ball, and it says, "Best player in the world, ? Guilty." And the caption said, "The verdict is in." Like, they used it so perfectly. Great Nike ad. And then even Adam Schefter, who he had this one certainly queued up for the weekend, but he put, from last year's arrest to this year's conquest, Scotty Scheffler wins the PGA Championship.
Yeah. I mean, and then the stabbing his own hand with the turkey at Thanksgiving.
Oh my! Nothing stops this guy.
Yeah, well, that did for a little bit, but
he rounded back into form. And then you have, of course, Phil Mickelson tweeted something, I think, right after the Masters. He was like, "My prediction for the year is Scotty will not win before the Ryder Cup." And then he wins, I forget what tournament this year, right after. And then he wins strokes. And then he wins at Quail Hollow, and I don't think he's done winning either. But again, historical perspective, Scotty Scheffler, he is one of 3 golfers to win 15 PGA Tour events and 3 majors before the age of 29, joining Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. So he continues to cement himself as the player of this generation. Mm-hmm. And I love the humility that he wins with. Of course, you saw the rare emotion out of him when he won yesterday. Yeah. He spiked the hat and he gave the whole "let's effing go" thing. which was a good moment. And then, of course, Jim Nantz lays out like he always does, and he meets up with his family. His dad said he was proud of him. Good moment. Did you see the picture with him and his baby going into the scorecard? Great moment. He's a great like face of the game right now for golf. Really great face for the game.
I mean, could he be a little bit more, I don't know, emotional on the course? Yes, but that's not him. And that's why he wins the way he does. I mean, Jack was never really emotional either. They're just great players, and I don't have a huge problem with it. I just need more people like Phil Mickelson to keep talking shit against him, because that's only going to prove him the greatness. At 29, he's won 3 majors. I mean, is 18 doable? I don't think so.
No, I don't think anybody's getting to 8. If Tiger couldn't do it, I don't think anybody else is getting it.
I don't see it. Although, if Tiger doesn't do Navy SEAL training and wreck his car, well, he should never be driving. You never know. Yeah,
you have 10 years of Tiger's career that were essentially lost.
Exactly. So, but the field is so deep, I think it's going to be difficult. Yes. What's going to get Scotty is what gets a lot of players: too much money and family. It's hard to stay hungry. Tiger's ability to stay hungry was uncanny. And you go back to his upbringing, he was literally born and nurtured to do what he did, and had the greatest mind in the history of the game, in my opinion, and just could block out everything, could work his ass off. He overworked himself, quite frankly. And, you got to have that balance. Now, will Scotty fall into that same trap that so many of these modern golfers do? You have a stretch of about 2.5 years where you're just a great player, or less than that. And then the money, the fame, the family, he's got kids now. That takes away from your practice time.
I mean, you could say this. I mean, Rory won 4 majors by 2014. And at that point, he was 23, 24 years old. Everybody thought Rory was going to dominate golf for forever. And he's had a great career and everything. And he's still one of the greatest 15 golfers of all time, in my opinion. Yep. But he went 10 years without winning one. Yep. Jordan Spieth had all the success in 2015, 2016, and he hasn't won a major since. Dustin Johnson did the same thing. Number 1 player for many weeks, and now he's completely irrelevant in golf.
He can't sniff it now.
Yeah, he can't sniff it. This was a good showcase for Jon Rahm, and Jon Rahm even said after, this hurts and everything, and it's unfortunate, but this is the best. This is like the most fun I've had playing golf in some time.
Yeah, he needs to get hell off the live tour.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably filled with regret, but it was good to see Jon Rahm at the top of the leaderboard again. And then, DeChambeau, I mean, you got to give him credit. I know he hasn't been able to finish at some of these majors, but Bryson DeChambeau in his last 9 majors, he's got a win, 2 second-place finishes, and then the other ones are all 6 top 6 finishes. So right now, when you look at the majors, who's going to be involved, you can always say it's going to be Scheffler, and you can always say DeChambeau is going to be right there. And I think everybody else, it's a crapshoot, to be honest with you.
Yep, I agree. I mean, Scotty's got a chance to do something really, really special over the next few years. But my prediction is it'll wane, like it has with all these guys. As great as Scotty is, and you just mentioned all those names, and we thought they'd never stop winning. Well, they did. They did. Somebody else will come along that's more singularly focused, doesn't have family, all that stuff, all those distractions. It hasn't broken through yet. Still hungry. This is not to dismiss Scotty Scheffler at all. If he does end up winning even 10 majors, that'll be an unbelievable accomplishment. I think it's going to be very tough. I think it's going to be tough for.
Well, I mean, even through this incredible run he's been on, the only 2 majors he had won, and not to diminish it, were the 2 Masters. Right. And the whole knock on Scotty was he would dominate the first part of the season, and then once you got past the Masters, the play would dip a little bit, or he wouldn't win.
Right.
Now he's starting to figure that out, which is dangerous for the rest of the guys. But yeah, Olympic gold medalist last year, the way he performed there, setting that course record in France, I believe. Mm-hmm. He's going to be the face of the Ryder Cup team again, hopefully, as the United States gets their stuff together this time around.
We'll see.
But until further notice, I just don't think anybody's in his league right now.
I agree. All right, let's take one more break. When we come back, we're going to finish up with all the comments, some interesting comments and questions that we will answer. And Nick has something to say about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, his favorite WNBA player. We are brought to you by Cafe Paradiso. Go have an incredible Italian meal at Cafe Paradiso with our good friend Paolo Tini. And it's not the frou-frou Italian new age, all that. No, it's the good stuff. The chicken marsala, the veal parmesan, the chicken parmesan, the lasagna, the branzino, all the beautiful stuff. Everything made fresh daily. None of that corporate stuff. It's Cafe Paradiso on South McDill. Make a reservation on Open Table, number 3 on Open Table. Tell them JP sent you. Back in 3.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Cafe Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Cafe Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Going through a medical emergency without health care insurance can cause you to go into crippling debt. In most scenarios, people are forced to either break into their retirement funds or worse, they're forced to file for bankruptcy. The sad truth is that health care insurance is crucial in today's day and age. Look, I get it. Many of you think you're never going to get sick and health insurance is really expensive. Well, we can help you out with that. Depending on your income, we can find great plans and huge discounts. God forbid you get cancer, a car accident. It could literally ruin you financially for life. So make the call and find out. Even though the open enrollment period is over, you may have some qualifying life events that can help you get covered right away. It can be very complicated, a very intimidating process, but we can help. Go to our website and check out all the 5-star reviews about our helpful agents. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. It's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. JP here for my friend Jason Fawcett, owner of On-Site Construction. They do residential and commercial renovations and new construction. As a leading home builder and general contractor, On-Site Construction prides itself on transforming homes through superior craftsmanship, dedication to client vision, and an unmatched commitment to quality and service. It's about building relationships. We take the time to understand our clients' needs, preferences, and budgets so that we can deliver a personalized experience tailored to their unique vision. From the initial designs to the final touches, we're there every step of the way, ensuring that the end result mirrors your vision. Here are some testimonials from happy customers. G. Gibson says, no hidden costs, very honest, reliable, creative, and communicates well. Reasonable and fair with their pricing, no hidden costs. C. Smith said, did not disappoint. I'm very happy with the work. This company really cares and will take care of it. So if you're just thinking about building or renovating, give us a call and let's see what's possible. 813-579-5789 or check out our website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Back to the JP Peterson Show on this Monday, along with Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. Thank you guys for jumping in here and all the great comments. We'll finish up with all the these. Well, love getting to our comments here. Remind you to go by thirdgenerationplumbing.com if you have any AC issues, plumbing issues, anything mechanical in the house. You want to find a reputable firm that does great work. Well, this is it. Thirdgenerationplumbing.com is where to go. Get your AC unit tuned up for the summer so you don't have that call that, oh, the drain is blocked, the AC is not working. It happens all the time. And a lot of AC places will come out and say, oh, you need a new unit. No, you don't. Just need to get your drain undone. Go to with a reputable firm, a reputable company that'll do this for you. That's thirdgenerationplumbing.com. John Rodriguez is the owner over there. If anything's wrong, he will correct it. So give him a call over there, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. So in the break, I was listening to Ryan Clark talk about the whole Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark thing. Mm-hmm. No relation, by the way. And he was talking about RG3 did a piece on this, and he's conflagrating it into RG3's wife is white, so he doesn't know what black women go through and how they're treated in public. And I'm like, wow, this is when it comes to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, it seems like the conversation always ends dominated by race. Which, by the way, I don't ever remember Magic Johnson and Larry Bird's rivalry being ever defined by race whatsoever. I don't remember that at all. I may be wrong.
I can't speak to it for sure.
I was around. I don't remember that. It seems like everything. And I think a lot of it has to do with social media because that's what gets clicks. When you play the race card and do the race baiting, that's what gets clicked. Everybody, oh, he said this. And Ryan Clark talking, and I'm a big Ryan Clark fan. I love his football analysis. I love his presentation. But on his Pivot podcast, it seems like it's always about that. It's always about that. You saw what happened this week. In case you missed it, hard foul by Caitlin Clark after Angel Reese takes both of her hands, shoves Caitlin's teammate, I forget what her name is, in the back, 2 hands, pushes her out of the way to get a rebound. And Caitlin goes, puts her arm out, looking at the ref going, how are you not calling that? And Angel Reese was even surprised. She gets the ball and she's like, oh, I'm going to go up. And Caitlin hard fouls her and keeps her from getting a layup and makes her make 2 shots, which are going to be, it was unlikely she would do it. So to me, hard foul, 2 rivals.
Yeah.
But it just becomes this black versus white thing. And I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, I do get it. I understand why, but it ain't.
Yeah.
Right.
The foul to me, I didn't, when I first saw it, so I didn't see it live or anything. I saw it on social media.
Right.
And then I watched everything, the coverage of it, and I saw what happened. And I'm like, well, that's just that's a common sense foul to make.
Right.
And it became a big deal because it was who did it to who, right? It was the 2 players that were involved, and that's always the case. And of course, Angel's reaction was, she immediately got up and got in the face of Caitlin and seemed like she wanted to, talk to her and all that. And it became this big ordeal. And, Caitlin said it's a basketball play, whatever. And Angel downplayed it then after. And of course, everybody runs with this. But I say this, and I said this last year, when it's like, when we have this discussion about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and we have these discussions about women's sports in general, it's like so many people just they don't know how to cover this stuff. It's like they really don't. Rivalries, personal beef, whatever. We've always had this in professional sports.
Right.
You're always going to have this. I mean, maybe I don't like the reaction that Angel Reese had, or I didn't understand it in the moment, but that's what it is. It's in the moment. It's in the heat of competition. This is sports. This is not going shopping at the mall.
Right.
And unless you've been in that arena, and I have not, and you haven't either, but you've been close to it, and I watch it for a living, you just don't understand it. So it's rivalries have always fueled this. And at the end of the day, I hate when these discussions turn into something they shouldn't be, because this is a rivalry. Whether you agree that Angel Reese is on the level of Caitlin Clark as a player or not, this is clearly a rivalry. Angel Reese, for all I know, might actually hate Caitlin Clark.
Right.
And guess what? Cool. Because it's very hard for women's sports many times to break through the headline barrier. And I imagine that I haven't seen the ratings yet, or if they've been released for that game, But I imagine they did a pretty good number because that is the winning combination right now, not just for women's basketball, but for all of women's sports. Right. And I'm enjoying it. It makes me want to tune in and see these two go at it because you never know what could happen. It's just unfortunate that sometimes the conversation then shifts to this thing that's like, it makes everything very uncomfortable to talk about. It's like, we can't just talk about how this is a basketball rivalry. That's what it is. Isaiah Thomas didn't like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan didn't like Isaiah Thomas.
That's right.
Guess what? You watched, you loved it. There's a million documentaries about it. There's going to be a documentary on this in 20, 30 years, and it's going to be great. Like, just enjoy the rivalry for what it is. Please stop making it such a bigger thing and a talking point about this and that and the other and the nonsense. Like, it gets people to watch.
Yeah. I just think it just, they're rivals and they don't like I don't think they like each other. And that's okay. But it doesn't have to be, because I don't think Caitlin Clark hates Angel Reese because she's black, and I don't think vice versa.
Correct.
I think it's because, they were rivals in college. They've gone at their it becomes a physical match. Everybody else makes it about that, so they pile on. And Angel has been pretty outspoken about the racial part of it, and I think that's misplaced, to be quite honest. Denigrating thousands or millions of fans that are going to be paying your salary, not a good strategic move. But this is where we are in our society, unfortunately. And I think everybody in all of this just plays into it, and it's unfortunate. It's funny because when I read the stories and everything, I was like, wow, what did Caitlin do? This is crazy. This really flagrant foul. Then I saw it. I went, what? That shouldn't even have been a flagrant foul, in my opinion.
I don't think so either.
Because Angel flopped a little bit at the end there too.
I thought so too.
Yeah. She didn't need to go to the ground like that. I think that was a little much.
I just feel like again, it's just so misplaced. Some of the narratives that are out here. Like, we've had so many examples of NBA players, like Larry Bird. Didn't he punch Bill Laimbeer once when they were on the floor?
Yeah, they went at it.
Like,
absolutely.
we've seen such way worse stuff, but we're losing our minds over a foul.
Yeah, crazy
Come on.
stuff. All right, Simeon Rice has a press conference today at 1:30. The next Ring of Honor member to go in. I think completely appropriate.
Yep.
Maybe past time, but he's going in. Who's going to be next? We'll talk about all that later. We'll hear from Simeon. Hopefully we'll have his remarks from today on the show tomorrow. He said he would call in too as well once he gets done with the Bucs interview.
Can I make a quick point about that real quick though?
Sure, yeah.
Real quick. I know we're already over, but just real quick. To the point of who's going next in the Ring of Honor discussion, I just want to point out that something that I just feel like it's a little crazy to me. A lot of people, a lot of older Bucs fans, and I get it, are going to advocate for James Wilder to go into the Ring of Honor. And that's fine. If you want to put James Wilder in the Ring of Honor, I'm not going to question you on that. But where I seem to have an issue is people will say, well, James Wilder should be a lock to go to the Ring of Honor. And then when the name Gerald McCoy gets brought up, you could pull 1,000 people and 500 are going to be like, yes. And 500 people are going to be like, well, absolutely not. And I don't get that because I'm just going to put this out here to you. Gerald McCoy was a far better player at his position than James Wilder was at his position.
Comparatively speaking, yeah.
You might not want to hear that, some folks, but that is true. Gerald McCoy was one of the best players at his position for 6 or 7 years. He's got the accomplishments to prove it, but unfortunately, a lot of people in this fan base, I think wrongly, have made him the face of a very bad period in time for the Bucs. And it's like, he wasn't a quarterback. He wasn't a receiver. He wasn't a star corner. He was a defensive tackle. And the only knock you can put on him is, well, he wasn't Warren Sapp. Find me 5 other players in the history of the game.
Well, and it's also because of Gerald's his personality. I think it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and some of the things he said about the fan base. And I don't think this is correct, by the way, but I think there's some thin skin on both sides, the fans and Gerald. Gerald's responses to a lot of things, I think he has way too much interaction with fans. I know he's in the media now, so it's fine. But even as a player, and when he left and all this, they gave him my number and all this. I think fans are too thin-skinned about it. I think Gerald was too, and I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
Yeah,
because objectively, you're 100% correct. Objectively, you're 100% correct.
I just feel like the Bucs were terrible for the large part of his run here in Tampa Bay, And after the game, it seemed like everybody wanted to shove a microphone in his face.
Right.
And for
and
him
he
to
took
try
the
to
interview every single time.
He took the interview every single time,
Every
which a lot of
single
people
time.
don't.
Never
And
once
he had
said, hey, I'm not the problem here.
Yeah, and he had to try to explain
It's the crap around
for a
me.
lot of the crap around him.
Right.
But we just made him sort of the poster child, and we forgot how good of a player Gerald McCoy was. He was double teamed for most of the game. Sometimes he was triple teamed. And why was that?
He's our highest paid player, and he's not making an impact.
Why was that? Gerald looks to his left, and he goes, "Oh, hey, Larry English, how you doing? How you doing over there?" Like, come on.
Absolutely.
That's
Can't believe Luke McCown couldn't get it done at quarterback.
Yeah, that's
and
all
it's
I
Gerald
want to point
McCoy's
out.
fault.
You want to put James Wilder in the Hall of Fame or the Ring of Honor, that's fine. But please don't tell me that Gerald McCoy has no argument to go with.
I agree. 100%. Well done. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. As always, we will be back tomorrow with the loquacious Simeon Rice and all of his great takes that we will have. He and Gruden did not part well. So I wonder if there'll be some questions about that. Absolutely. And I'm interested to see how Simeon handles those. So that should be fun. So I'll be heading over there to that. We'll bring it to you tomorrow. And the Rays and Astros tonight facing a left-hander in that all right-handed lineup. We'll see if the Ronda's in there. My Lord, this could be ugly. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.